Good morning, good morning, good morning. All right, there we go. Just realized it. When I looked at the camera, I was like, oh, I don't have them on. How is your day going? How was the rest of your day yesterday? That's the real question. As we are setting up, of course, we have to hit the road today, too. It's going to be an interesting day for us. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it consistent. That's a nice little picture. Let's keep it consistent. Okay, I just want to check the audio right quick. Make sure we good on that. Testing, testing, testing. Listen to myself talk. Listen to myself talk. Listen to myself talk. All right. Because, sometimes we don't have nobody in the chat with us when we live stream. So I don't want to be having that little in there. Little noise. So let me get the disclaimer up, guys. All right. Disclaimer, the videos presented here are for informational purposes only, and therefore if you are to choose to attend the institution, please do your own research and consult with a specialist at the institution you are interested in. I am not a financial aid specialist, academic advisor, or representing any institution. Speaking about creator, Henry is only speaking from his experience. All right. So as we get started, let's go. Actually, just let's jump into it. So it's been we got stories. First one we want to talk about is how does admissions really work? Why did I wonder that or speculate that, right? Sometimes we wonder how do we get into a college? And so right here it says, according to Chronicle Higher Education, the feds are not the only outsiders who scrutinize admissions. It's like who gets in, per se, and who doesn't. It's the interest of parents, students, faculty, trustees, and state politicians, bond rating agencies, journalists, college ranking organizations, and activists across the political spectrum. So, no link, but I guess it does spark a conversation of who gets in for admissions. So basically, a little Google search. That's gonna be our research. Generation. See, I don't got nobody in here to conversate with me. It's hard though. So it says right here, college admissions is a multifaceted process where institutions evaluate applications to select the best fit students, right? And so broad, so broad. And the reason why we're asking this or wondering this is because there's been a lot of disparity. I hope I use the right word. There's been a lot of It's been a lot of questions about admissions. There's been eyes on admissions, as the College Education said. Most of all, starting with among the provisions of Columbia University recent deal with the Trump administration is that the university will submit regular examinations of its admissions data. But that's pertaining to Columbia. And we had a person in here. We usually have a person in here from Columbia telling us how everything goes inside out of Columbia. But when it comes to admissions, guys, I always found it interesting with admissions because I had 100. So I probably said this before. Just jump straight into it. 2-year colleges have open admissions. I don't think a lot of us know that, that 2-year colleges offer open admissions, and some 4 years have open admissions. If a 4-year has an open admission, that's probably not good because that means people prefer it's just not good when the school has an open admission or high admission rate. In some cases, pertain to a 4-year. 2-year open admission because once again they want you to start at a 2-year when a 4-year gets overcrowded. Sometimes people get denied from school because the school is overcrowded, not because they wasn't the best student. It's just because the school is overcrowded. And with open admissions at like 2 years and 4 years, open admission is I feel like it was easier. It made it easy for me. As I think about admissions, I didn't have to write an essay. I didn't have to have a lot of extra items done. Like they used my SAT, ACT score at the time, but admissions wasn't really something that was scary to me. Admissions is very scary for some people when they sign up, doing everything. They pay money. Like my application fee was only like $25, if that, at the time. I mean, some people pay a lot of money for applications. Oh, did I get it? Did I get it? Did y'all see that? It's always something. A lot of people pay a lot of money for admissions. And actually, that would be a good look up. How much does the typical admissions cost? That'd be a good question if I had some people in here in my ear. That'd be a good question. Ouch, that hurts. How much? That'd be a good question. Like, why do they charge for admissions though? I do wonder what the conversation dialogue would be like that. Like, of course, in the future we would have somebody telling us about admissions, but how much does admissions on average cost? Colleges. I'm gonna say at colleges. So right here, according to a source called bestcolleges.com, they actually just did this on June 24th, 2025. So I like Best Colleges because they are pretty credible. They factual, citate everything they talk about. But more of all, the reason we came here is because how much does it cost to apply to college? That's the proper term. How much does it cost to apply to college? Normally, this goes straight to admissions. So, they got some few summaries in here. But right here it says that, I'll shut my computer down a little bit. It says here that usually you could pay $50 per application. It says they analyzed from 2022 to 2023 that application fee information collected by Peterson data from over 1,100 colleges. It says the average application fee at a public 4-year university, at a public 4-year public college. I feel like that's the same as a university. Oh, they did say or university because sometimes that makes a difference. The average application fee for a 4-year public college or university was $48. It's not bad. It says the average college application fee at a private 4-year was $54 to $57. The average application fee at 2-year colleges was less expensive, ranging from $39 to $52. And I believe it went up, guys. I believe that, like I said, my 2-year, I don't think I paid $30-some, but I probably did. I don't really remember. It was such a small number. And so it says the average undergraduate application fees at 4-year colleges. And then we just read them out. And then as we keep going, so they have some schools in here. The Ivies, on the high end of the Ivy, you're looking at about $85. And then as we keep going. It says how to save money on college application fees. They said there are several ways to save when going through the college application process for my people out there who getting ready to start college. It's not really a big bugger about college application fees because remember, it's all about what? The admissions. We're really trying to find out what is the inside scoop on admissions. And I never worked in admissions. I talked to admissions people before. Never at a university, I'll be honest. Never at a university. Always at my 2 year. But it was easier because it was open admissions. Everybody is getting in usually. But definitely on a pick and choose basis, I would definitely want to see the inside of that, right? Like, what's the inside scoop on getting into college? Why is this a topic right now? Why are we talking about this? Why does it seem so, what's that word? Why does it seem so invaluable? Y'all like my wordplay today? I'm doing pretty good right now. I'm doing pretty good. It's valuable because, or it's worth talking about for the reason that I quote Chronicle Education and they quote Angel Perez, who is the executive. He is the CEO of the National Association for College Admission Counseling. So the government, he said, the government wants to monitor how many students of color are admitted at institutions. Says Angel Perez. He said the government wants to monitor how many students of color are admitted at institutions. Students of color. One thing I'll say when reading this information, guys, is always going back to race. I try my best to not think about that because on my college journey, I just felt like that would have been unnecessary unnecessary stress on my health. And my dad always told me that, don't worry about things you can't control. I learned about the locus of control when I was at my university. Things you can't control, it's easy to say, right? But then again, it is hard to not think about when somebody is presenting it to you, saying it to you. And when I went through college, man, it's just a pathway I took. That's why we do this, and that's why I tell you all constantly. I know I say the same thing sometimes, but you just have to keep hearing it like a song. And the pathway, when I took my pathway, man, like I said, my 2 year was open admissions. Then when I transferred, it's like I skipped it. I ain't gonna say I skipped admissions, but it's like I didn't do the normal traditional admission like stressors. Like I said, writing the paper. Did I get it? I'll tell you how these fools are. They get on my nerves. And so I didn't take the normal traditional route, if that's what I was saying. And then I didn't have to worry about stressors of writing a paper. I did not get it. Me and I can't get this out of my life. I've been missing a lot. Oh, and they keep making me stop. I didn't have to worry about writing a paper. I didn't have to worry about doing all the extra loops and hurdles that people do when they get ready to go to college. It was a very in and out job, as I like to say, when going to school. I got in, I stayed in. I didn't have to worry about paying. I don't even think I paid that much. I don't even think I paid for admissions when I transferred because of my school and the requirements under the articulation agreement. I don't believe I did. But Angel Perez is saying that the Trump administration, I kid you not, I quote, he said the concern is by the Trump administration / government is that they're concerned that if the institution does not admit a certain number of white students, the Trump administration is going to sue them. I don't know how to feel about that. Like I said, they're bringing demographics into it, but that could be the case. Everything I've been reading so far from Chronicle Higher Education, Inside Higher Ed, Department of Education, anything pertaining to higher education has been about demographics, race, and last time I checked, I'm just trying to get an education. And strongly, I feel like this is all distractions on the bigger issue, which is why I always say, like, presidents make all this money, execs make all this money, universities are charging an arm and a leg to go to school. Why are we not focusing our energy onto that? We're focusing on like back and forth, tit for tat punches. And this is higher education, guys. This shouldn't be like this, personally. And do I like these topics? I really don't. But as far as like data, information, they always come back to this. And that's why I always strive to be like, just start a 2 year, bridge to a 4 year under articulation agreement. We should be bridging more of those together. But that comes into another, as my one of my chat people say, that's another thing that makes everything a little jaded. Because sometimes I don't feel like they want to do articulation agreements or pathway agreements. I feel like they're making excuses on they do them. I feel like they could be doing them just to do them sometimes, not doing them as a need. And so, but they talk about these things, man, and it's so much more to higher education than worrying about, oh, how many this demographic got in, or how many this demographic got in. Oh, y'all admitted more than this demographic, and it's just like, let's help these students who are not going to college. It's a disparity out here right now. I was talking to one of my peers, and he told me that it's like 5%. I'm gonna just say 5. I'm not sure if it was. I believe it's less than 5%. Uh, people that look like me that are lawyers. And then I talked to my brother cousin. He was one of the only. If you want to talk about things like this, he was one of the only African Americans slash black or whatever you want to say that was a physical therapist. He was like one of the only ones, literally one of the only ones. And it's crazy. He like, oh, these are like one percenters. Like, you don't get to see. If you do, you just grew up in a family knowing lawyers and doctors and stuff. Like, that's rare. Those are one percenters. But we don't have enough of us, if we want to be technical, going to college. I guess that's what makes the channel a little hard. I'm not doing the typical fun entertainment things. So I'm considered boring a little bit. If I'm boring, let me know. But on a better note, and going forward, they said still these numbers reveal only so much. So critics of race conscious admissions may hold. I'm reading from Chronicle Higher Education. I'm gonna put my input in, but it says critics of race conscious admissions may hold that merit means taking applicants who have the highest SAT scores. Selective admission offices consider a fuller, though still imperfect, picture of applicants' performance in the context of their high schools. Okay. And remember, the most selective colleges reject more students with stellar grades and test scores than they enroll. I don't know how to take that. I don't know how to take that. So, oh yeah, they said may hold that merit because they did say they are going back merit based on admissions. That's been the driver. That's been the main thing. And what does the merit mean? That's what they meant. Because I know what merit mean. I learned what merit was in graduate school actually. And so merit means taking applicants who have the highest SAT scores. So it's kind of like you taking somebody with the highest SAT scores. If I could talk about that, just because somebody had the highest SAT score doesn't mean they're a great fit for the college. You could just be a really good test taker. And so, but merit goes beyond SAT scores. Merit is about like just high everything. If you got the highest test scores, writing scores, highest known achievement, which is why I don't like awards, because awards are just considered validated by people, right? What I mean by that is, to break it down a little more, when you get an award, think about it. If you have a lineup of people, let's just say it's 3 people, right? And one of them are very known. The other 2 are like, who are them? Right? That's when marketing comes in and other things comes in. All these other factors comes in. And that's pretty much when it comes to merit and admissions, they look for those things. Some admission processes are different. Granted, of course, we're gonna bring people on. We get, we're gonna get better, but I ain't gonna lie, this kind of trash right now to me. But I feel like we're doing pretty good. And so, when you hear merit, just know like if a school on their school website, how this helps you. If you're looking at a school and you're trying to figure out what merit is, I know you can Google it if you choose to Google it, but merit is just high everything, high scores, everything across the board, and they automatically let you in. Supposedly supposed to let you in. But the bigger picture is that this highly selective colleges are in a bind. Once again, Angel Perez puts it: if they enroll fewer students, Angel Perez said, if they enroll fewer students of color than last year, their internal constituents, the faculty and alumni, are going to be angry. But then, if they admit more, they are possibly going to get sued. It's an impossible position to be in. Perhaps all of this will push colleges toward a less holistic, more mechanical admissions process, or a more mechanical admissions practice. But even then, everyone would still be watching and they won't ever be satisfied. That's true. I get Angel Perez that. Who is the CEO of Angel Perez is the CEO of the National Association for College Admission Counseling. He never has straight answers, because then again, I'm not the biggest, but I would say like he never had straight answers. He had a hard time on an interview with CNBC one time. And it's tricky. Admissions is tricky because you don't have, I really don't think, because he's the CEO of admissions, he's the reason why admission processes should be the way they are. He has a lot of, I would say, power. He has a lot of power and what's that? A lot of power and input. And Angel Perez, when he says that I guess it's true. Schools are getting sued. Schools are getting sued because of, I guess, having international students, having too many students of color, not having enough white. Sticky situation, right? Sticky situation. I don't know much about admissions to really speak heavily on it, but I can give definitely a perspective. It's just a lot going on. Admissions just have a lot going on in itself. Imagine hearing this from the top guy. Imagine hearing this from the top guy like Angel Perez. He's the guy, like, your admissions follows their practices, like, or most of it at least. And he's saying literally, like, if you do too many of this, do too many of that, they're never gonna be satisfied. I really think schools should just do a percentage. Like, I would try a percentage. I would enroll an equal amount of demographics. If this is the case right now in this time, I would just enroll an equal amount of demographics. Like 25% of this, 25% of that, 25% of this, 25% of that. Then you say, well, it gets a little tricky because then the person major and da-da-da. So you still want to fill up majors and classrooms. And then he's like, my goodness, it just gets more complicated. And so admissions is something that is, they got some work to do. They got some work to do. And on the closeout for students, don't get overworked about admissions. Don't get overworked that you didn't get into a college. It's okay to not get into a school sometimes. Everybody doesn't get in. It's completely normal. It's completely okay. I feel like this though, if you apply to all these universities, and because them fees add up, paying like, imagine like 50. If you apply to, like, some people apply to about 10 schools or more. If you apply to 10 schools, what, 10 times 50? I already know. I did the answer right there. Yes, 500. So that's $500 if you apply to 10 schools to hopefully get in, to hope get in. Then, I don't think we think about this. You hope to go to a school, then you gotta hope to stay there. Like, you gotta hope to keep your you know, like, retainability. Hopefully they can keep you. I think I'm just trying to help people be more strategic about going to college, really, guys. Um, I'm really trying to help people be more strategic about it. College is no straight answer. There's no straight answer to this. There's no straight answer to what school you should go to. Well, I feel like it is. Started a 2-year bridge to 4-year under articulation agreement. But there's no straight answer on like what you're going to learn, what that experience will be like. Everybody's experience is so different in college. We hear about the entertainment experiences more than the actual development experiences of college. People don't understand that college really shifts your mindset. It really does. It really do. It's one of those most invaluable tools that I wish everybody can experience, but everybody doesn't even get to go to college. If we really talk about it and sit down about it, college leads you to college teaches you how to fish. We probably heard that. And for people who probably want to hear the other way, college teaches you how to make money. College teaches you one of the most invaluable things. I wrote it down. I saw it on my show. It's one of my favorite shows. They said it also. But college teaches you patience, man. That's why it's so expensive, I think. Of course, there's multiple answers, but in this moment, I really genuinely feel like they teach you patience. You think about it. Now you can take this in a negative way, viewing it, or a positive light. But college really, when you start college, you're in there for 4 years. Not to mention if you got to go to law school, PT school, graduate school, any type of school afterwards. That could be an additional 2, additional 4, to hopefully one day get paid the money you hope to get for going to school all these years. That is a negative way to look at it, but that patience, man, patience is a talent. It really is. When going to school, they charge you so much to go. Most people just trying to go to the best school to get the best job. We say the answer all the time. Again, we say the answer all the time. Why am I paying what we say? I hear people say, why am I they say the connections matter. Why do I need to go to college? Then my thing is, when you say that, why are you going to the most expensive school then? Okay. Now, let's get it. If you're in Georgia like me, it's going to be hard for you to make connections with somebody in New York who goes to a pretty good school in New York, for example. Because I decided to stay in state and probably go to school locally. But if I decide to go to a conference that's consisted of students from all different colleges, then I can still get a great return on investment in school, because I'm still meeting students from different parts of the state, different parts of America, an America example, or world. It's conferences where people coming from different parts of the world, and you're meeting people from all over, and you're only at a small school. There's plenty of people who went to small schools and still made a way to meet great connections that some people are paying $97,000 a year for. Like, prime example, I met one of my good friends at a conference. You know, I plan on going to more conferences when I graduate college, but I'm really focusing on my studies because I just really feel like too, one slip up in at least in graduate school, one slip up and it's over. It's over. It's hard to make a comeback at graduate school, and having a really good GPA. Does the GPA matter at this point? To me, it do. You know, to me, it do. Does it matter to the public? Probably not. Nah, probably not. But guys, college is a patient game. Teaches you how to I feel like make money for a lifetime, be educated for a lifetime, continue to pick up books for a lifetime. And I wish it was more tangible. Well, it is tangible. You know. It is tangible. But inspirational, tangible. But just pay attention. Just pay attention to a lot of people who went to college. Um, really pay attention. Like, think about most of your billionaires in the world, they went to college. So, just think about it. Really think about it. Don't take it for granted, man. And hopefully one day this channel, higher education, will get appreciated. But don't take it for granted. Let's keep going. We got a lot more to cover. Harvard has to pay 500. No, Harvard to pay $500 million settlement. That's interesting. That's interesting. So, Ivies have been on the. If you've been watching this, guys, we have been talking about Ivies a lot. Ivies. This is written. This was wrote by. This is by Inside Higher Ed. It was written by Susan H. Greenberg. I don't know if Harvard is going to pay $500 million to settle with the Trump administration. It says Trump. They are so crazy. They say Trump, but I don't know if they're going to settle with the Trump administration. I don't know if this is a rumor. I didn't see anything posted by the Department of Education. So they're in talks. Maybe they're nearing $500 million, which is way more than what Columbia had to pay. But Harvard got that money. Harvard got billions of dollars. 500 million to them, I don't know, that's a little steep. That's a little steep for them, I feel like. So let's get into it. It says right here, first line, Harvard University is open to paying Harvard. Oh, it says Harvard. So according to them, Harvard University is open to paying up to $500 million to end its feud with the Trump administration. They are really getting this money. I do wonder where this money is going to go, though, when they get this money. Like the Trump administration, Department of Education. I don't even know who this money goes to. We got to get some inside sources, man. We got to get on it. I can't wait, though. We coming, man. We talk about it. Yeah, we coming. Citing four anonymous sources. They're citing, which is why I love this. I love Inside Higher Ed. It says the Times said Harvard was considering accusing. I don't think that's accusing, but they said Harvard was considered. I gotta look this word up. It's not even. We're not even 2 paragraphs in, and they dropping crazy words on me like that. Like, do y'all ever come across words and you just be like, I didn't know that word, but I don't do what you're doing here. Like, let me know. So the word is
acquiesce.
Who?
Acquiesce.
Acquiesce.
Acquiesce. Acquiesce.
Acquiesce.
Acquiesce.
Acquiesce. Okay. So acquiescing, in definition is to what? Accept something reluctantly, but without protest. Okay, so allow, permit. Okay, permit, allow. Okay. So it says right here, citing for anonymous sources, anonymous. The Times said Harvard was considering acquiescing to the president's demands and paying as much as $500 million. It said, though the university leaders expressed reservations about paying the government directly. So university leaders expressed some pushback pretty much about paying the government directly. The exact terms of the settlement are still being hammered out. The sources said, okay. It says the news comes less than a week after Columbia agreed to pay the Trump administration more than $200 million to get $400 million of grant funding restored. They said $200 million to get our investment back. That's 200. That's a $200 million investment to get $400 million in grant funding restored. They said we can make that 200 back. I'm thinking like Columbia. Columbia said we can get 200 back in one semester. We good. We good. Just to keep y'all away. So Harvard, back on the Harvard thing, Education Secretary Linda McMahon called the Columbia deal she said right here, she called the Columbia deal a roadmap for elite universities. A roadmap for elite universities that wish to regain the confidence of the American public by renewing their commitment to truth seeking, merit, and civil debate. And Trump said he wanted to make sure that Harvard paid more than Columbia, the Crimson reported. So, how does that affect you? If you are a student, and I always say how does that affect you because, guys, I know at the end of the day, you want information that's going to help you. If you are a student at Columbia, Harvard, or any Ivy League, your school is paying or dishing out a lot of money. Do I think the prices will get higher? Yeah, naturally, because prices at Ivies especially, they're going to go up gradually. That's just the game. That's just the name of the game. You got to keep it. They got to keep certain information closed off from certain people. That's just how it goes. Who really want to go there and take that risk. That's part of investing in your education or investing in your future. But based on what Linda and Trump said, they want Harvard to pay more. Like I said, Harvard got billions of dollars in land and of course money in general. I always tell people that higher education has a lot of money. Most people don't believe that. They don't believe there's a lot of liquidation in education, I would say, or a lot of funds in education. And so if you go into these schools as a student, you shouldn't be too worried. I would think more on the staff side because we're gonna have professionals in this. We're gonna have professionals in this live stream. So on the professional side, they should be a little worried if Harvard dishes out 500 million because they might have to temporarily relieve them from their duties, staff or professors, maybe. Because if they do that, then they can pocket back the 500 million they lost and probably get back like 250 million, right? And then in next semester they can make back the 250 million, for example. And then they can bring back staffing, then open up more jobs and get things back to normal. So, but that's just all on the staffing side. If you are a staffing member that works at Harvard or Ivy League, that's more on the staffing side. As a student, you probably wouldn't care. This probably wouldn't bother you unless the school said, yeah, we have to pay too much money and the school is on the verge of raising tuition and fees significantly more than that. But let's keep going. So all right. It says Harvard fought back with a series of lawsuits. It says the university leaders have been quietly negotiating with the Trump administration. They've been eager to see more than $2 billion in federal funding restored and Harvard's ability to enroll international students. So remember, Harvard had their students, pretty much their international students, closed off essentially. Like the international enrollment probably is gonna look bad for this upcoming fall or spring. White House spokesperson. Let me see what this is saying. So they're still on the DEI thing and the. Let me see this right here. Give me a few seconds.
Anti-Semitism.
They're still on anti-Semitism and DEI. They're still on that. And so they said that's common sense. You take those two out, then you're essentially not breaking the law and you protect the civil liberties of all students. So Well, first and foremost, let me clear something. I think most people, if you haven't went to college or you're going to college or you probably in college and you probably didn't know this, um, a college gives you a free colleges give you a free platform to speak on. Yeah. Colleges give you a free platform to speak on. They give you a free um like if you want to protest on the campus, they let you do that. It's not considered bad if you protest on the campus. It's not. It's not bad if you protest. It's not bad if you have a like if you want to talk about anything. Like it's a freedom of speech on the campus move. It's a freedom of speech on the campus. And I don't think most people some people probably know that. A lot of people probably know that. But I think a lot of people don't know that at the same time. It's a lot of people in the world who might not know that. So US campuses let you say anything you want to say. You could talk about anything, literally. I'm not even gonna say it because you could talk about anything. And the college will not kick you off the campus. But they will kick you off the campus if you're like harassing. So you have to stand like in one position pretty much and just talk like out the microphone and say blah blah blah. But schools actually let you do that. But now things are changing with this administration, so you can't really go out there and protest and say certain things. And word on the street from some professionals I talked to during this summer, or right before the summer, they said the best advice you can give students right now or incoming students who could be affected by what's going on with the current administration is that you should tell them to keep their head low because they don't want to be, they don't want to be affected by this, have to drop out of school, be expelled from school. Because then the student might not think this. They think they're one person and nobody might not know about it. But a school, man, if you get kicked out of a school, that's worse than a lot than you think. Like that's gonna be a paper trail on you as a student if you get kicked out of school for something like this going on. So the best advice they say is keep your head low as a student. That's really helpful. I feel like right now because I know a lot of people want to say things, but my best advice for students if they want to say anything, just go to your dorm room. Especially, I know a lot of you all stay on campus. I advise you not to stay on campus, but if you want to have conversations and you feel like you're being oppressed, go to somebody's apartment that you know, have a gathering, and have open dialogue, debates about what's going on in the current state of the country right now, United States. Like have those conversations. Those are very good dialogue conversations and healthy conversations to have because you're not able to have open conversations right now. That's just being honest and real. You cannot have open and honest conversations right now. You will get punished or in trouble for it. So that's pretty much about the Harvard paying $500 million. They're nearing a $500 million deal to settle with the Trump administration. Oh, that is a lot of money, especially for Harvard. That's $500 million. That's $500 million. So the next one we got real quick is about the next one we got is why is college deemed worthless? This probably won't be a long live stream, guys, because I don't want to. I'm gonna try something a little different. I'm gonna switch it up a little bit, and yeah, switching it up a little bit. Like and subscribe. I'm gonna see something right quick. So, why is college deemed worthless? Why is college deemed worthless? Then we're gonna review our school, and then I'm gonna let you go. So, I'm just writing that down for us. And then, why is it deemed worthless? I'm gonna let that sink. That's not what I'm looking for. No, we just did that one. Nah. I think we did that school already. As I'm doing that. Another. We could do that school. Okay. Okay. We could do that. Okay. We could do that. We could do that. So the school we're gonna do, guys, is the University of Wisconsin, but we're going to talk about first. First thing we're going to talk about is why is college deemed worthless? Let's talk about that. Now, while we're doing that, all right. Now, while we're doing that, I think I've seen this school before. I think I did. So while we're doing that, yeah. Why is college deemed worthless? So I gave y'all some time. College is deemed worthless. Or why is it deemed worthless? I always wondered why college was deemed worthless. Kind of, we talked about it already a little bit. We hit on it. Most people expect to get right away. People expect to get right away results. People expect to get results when they go to college. But college has been deemed worthless. Has college let you down? Do you feel like college is not really giving you that return on investment like it should? Do you feel like college, like when you compare it against like social media, somebody who's on social media, they're like a TikToker or content creator, they're doing day in life. And some of them go to college now. Don't get it confused, but you think about most of them that don't go to college, and then it's just like college is worthless, man. I could go travel the world, be a content creator. I can do this and do that. You can. But I always think about when somebody getting their degree, it don't matter what degree they get, as long as they get their degree. Literally, Linda McMahon has a degree in French. She has a bachelor's degree in French. So it don't matter what you get it in, you can still be successful, right? But I think people don't realize like you can pivot a lot of times, besides like you have to take a test and depending on if you go into another career field, you might take a test and do a little more schooling. Most of the times you can pivot to other career fields. In most cases, you can pivot to other career fields. But a person without a degree, it can be a little hard. But then that's when people say, well, I can get a certification. And then I say, well, you can get a certification. You could get a certification. You don't need a degree, right? But that's all part of college. A certificate, a diploma, a degree, and so on. If they come up with new names, it's all part of college. You probably wonder, why do I want to talk about college? Why do I want to talk about higher education? Why do I want to talk about degrees? Why would I want to talk about this? Is it boring? Is it like, why would I want to talk about this? People say it's boring, but God, college is not worthless. More of all, college is, everybody who says college is worthless either wanted to go to college, or they probably just couldn't get the courage to go, or they probably didn't have the money to go. It's possible. It's a lot of factors, but college is not worth it by a long shot. That's literally how this country, pertaining to history, this is literally how this country advanced itself. Trades, education, liberal arts. For my people out there disrespecting the liberal arts. Mathematicians, scientists, This what makes the health professionals. This what makes the world, and that's what makes this country tick. You really think if college was worthless, why would we have colleges charging you, or at least Ivies? I'm gonna say Ivies because I know Ivies so far they've been worth dollars. I've been hearing a lot. Like I've been watching people in Ivies leagues. There's a lot of people like CEOs and founders that go to Ivies, but definitely CEOs. They want to go run somebody's company. Nothing wrong with that. But why you think these Ivies charge $100,000 a semester? A semester. God, I was doing some. I said I can't chill. I said I can't chill. I said, bro, if my kid want to go to school, if I want my kid to go to Ivy, guys, if I wanted my kid to go to Ivy and not do the path I did, you know, if they want to do a 2-year to university route, cool. But to help them take that leap and go to Ivy, guys, I cannot afford an Ivy League right now. I can't afford an Ivy League right now. If I wanted to send my kid to Ivy League, if it was the moment now, I could not send them to Ivy League. Let me put something in perspective for you right quick. Let me tell you how hard this is. Let me tell you how much college is not worthless. Let me just tell you how much that people speculate that saying college is not worthless when they just really look at the cost and say it's not worthless. Let me show you something real quick. So if a school is charging $100,000 a semester, so your kid would have to do 4 years. We don't need no slack. We don't need them taking extra classes, messing up. I need them in and out. I need them in and out in 4 years. 100,000 times 4 is 400,000, and that doesn't include the fees and stuff yet. That doesn't include if they want to get food. That doesn't include if they want to do some other stuff. You know, like $400,000. Do I have $400,000? I heard Warren Buffett said it. I heard some channels say it, some financial education channels I watch. They said, man, you need at least 10 million to be comfortable. This all relates back to education. This all relates back to college. Even the person on this money, the signatures, the treasurer secretary, the secretary of secretary. It says secretary of the secretary. It really says that. The president on here. They all went to college. $400,000 though. If you don't have $400,000, guys, alone, you can't send your kid to Ivy. You can't send your kid to Ivy. Then it gets more into like, oh dang. Yeah, then you think about what if you want a house? That's like another, if you want to get a house, that's like what you gonna say right now? An extra, like a good decent house, probably like plus $250,000. That's already $650,000 right there, guys. Ivy gonna cost you $400,000. They charge $100,000 per semester. Your house is $250,000. What else? You want a car? It might be like, well, you might keep an old car. You might want a new car. Well, like an extra $30,000. Now, if you got multiple kids, that's $800,000 if you want both of them to go to Ivy. That's why they say you need at least 10 million in America to be comfortable, to advance. You can't have no chill, man. You can't have no chill. It's making me realize, like, you can't have no chill. Like, really, you can't. Because, like, everybody wants to go to Ivy. The people who understand the value of an Ivy, but understand the value of a college, like, anybody can go to these colleges, especially athletes, right? Anybody can go to some of these other colleges. But I ain't gonna lie, though. Them Ivies starting to come up a little bit. I ain't the biggest Ivy person, but them Ivies coming hard a little bit. Them Ivies getting a little too good. They getting a little too good. And so it goes back to, why is college deemed worthless? Is it because a college, you feel like you did a major and that college is not providing you with tangible skills right away? You feel like they're not giving you skills to use as soon as you get in the workforce? Like, that's college sometimes. My college, I'll be real, I think out of all the college I did, the only tangible skill my college gave me was working through, like, I can decently build a website. What else they provided me with? Writing skills. I can write better than normal. Probably gonna need that in the future. I can write better than normal. Then some people are like, you could just use AI, but I guess they're right, guys. I'm not a research. They provide me with research and some more. But college ain't, unless you're like, I guess that's why people like to do the tech stuff, because they give you like hands-on working with hands-on skills that you can use as soon as you graduate, or if you don't even graduate, you still got the skill set. But why is college deemed worthless, man? And college is not worthless. Again, I keep saying the hook so you remember, and we stand on topic. College is not worthless. College is probably gonna be one of your best, I feel like one of your best decisions over getting a house, over getting a car. Like, you just remember all them days you walked. But don't be, this is what college becomes worthless. Don't be ignorant, blindly following the college on everything. Don't believe the college is going to help you. Don't believe the college, how they say, how the teachers be. Don't believe the college is just going to help you get a job right away. Don't believe that. Don't believe that. That's on you. Stuff like in a job, connections and all that, that's on you. You gotta rely on yourself. I was being funny, actually. I emailed my, just to see if that person would go out their way. I emailed my supposedly academic advisor in graduate school. I said, hey, do you know of any, this would make somebody think college is worthless. I said, hey, do you know if, what I said? I said, hey, do you know of any job opportunities / conferences coming up? That academic advisor told me, because the system told them they were my academic advisor. That academic advisor told me to reach out to my professor. I kid you not. It said they said reach out to your professor. You're in this college. Have a good day. Kid you not. I kid you not, man. So don't follow the college blindly. That's where you're gonna, any school you can get the wrong experience if you just follow a college blindly. Don't do that. That can make your college worthless. Please go to school. Start at a 2-year bridge to a 4-year. Do the articulation agreement. Remember, don't go to a school that is more than, it could be 2,000, but it can't be higher than 3,000. 3,000 should be your cap. I feel like that's good purchasing power for a student who's trying to get a part-time job, full-time job, fresh out of high school. I feel like you're better than me, guys. I've been denied by like over 50 jobs, maybe over 100 jobs. It took me a long time to get a job on my own. Like, my last job, I got that through connection building. And most people probably say that's how everybody get jobs, but you never know how somebody can treat you, man. You just never know. That's all I can leave it at. You just never know how somebody will treat you just because they helped you get a job. Be aware of that. So I do want to say, be mindful of that. Start at a 2-year bridge to a 4-year. Start at a 2-year bridge to a 4-year. I can't stress it enough. Because as we keep going in the future, I will expand on why, but I'm not trying to use that as a way to get your attention. This is one way, but it's not real. But those articulation agreements and pathway agreements, man, I just wish a lot more people knew about them. Just that bridge to a 2-year to a 4-year, and how it saves you $10,000 and more. It does that. And when you stay off campus, don't get the meal plans, It does that for you. It really does. So yeah, I'm gonna keep saying it every live stream until somebody hears it. That sounds like a movie. Yeah, I'm gonna keep saying it. Yeah, I'm gonna keep repeating it. And that's how it's supposed to be. You say it to other people believe it. Started a 2-year Bristol 4-year. Articulation agreement. Make sure that 4-year has an agreement with your 2-year. Wherever your dreams, if your dream school is that 4-year, call that 4-year up on the phone and say, hey, do y'all do articulation agreements with this 2-year? Find out. They got phones and emails. Simple. So, on that, we finna do our review of the school. What school is that? The college is University of Milwaukee, University of Wisconsin, Milwaukee. That's the school. I thought it was University of Wisconsin for a second, but University of Wisconsin, Milwaukee. I ain't gonna get you. I can't believe this. I haven't got this. I missed. I was off. Let me see. They keep messing with me, y'all. I seen it. Make me look crazy. I'm assuming it's this one. So, as we do our review of university, I'm about to write this down. University of Wisconsin. All right. University of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 4-year. Public city is large. It has a large amount of students. They have according to the College Scorecard, they have about 17,000 students. What's that? Damn, my words. They have about 17,000 undergraduate students on estimate. About 17,000 when it's rounded. And then the graduation rate is at 52%. It's way below the midpoint of 58%. It's 52%. That's pretty low. That's an F. Where is it? And then their average annual cost is about $16,000. So where is $16,000? And you don't know what's beautiful about this? Their website is right here. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. Tuition and fees. Tuition and fees. Write that down. Okay, they got upcoming fall purchases. Look at them. So organized. Taking me to a PDF as I get this up for you guys. Right now, we're trying to see if their price on the College Scorecard matches their actual prices. Look at them. Look at them being very Milwaukee-like. As it loads, and we're watching, and we're waiting, and we're watching. How's your day going, man? Is your day going well? It's almost 12 o'clock. It's almost 12 o'clock. It's almost 12 o'clock. It's almost 12 o'clock. All right, there we go. So, if you are a resident here, this is for resident. They got non-residents and residents. Is this by semester? They said segregated fees are included. Cool. All So what I'm looking for is this per semester. I'm assuming it's per semester. We're gonna rock with that because it's not really double figures. So I'm gonna assume it's for one semester per semester. So if you're doing 12 credit hours enrolled, this does not include the housing plan. You're looking at about $5,500. You're looking at about $5,500 for tuition at this school. Now, their price on the college scorecard includes, like I said, 16,000. So I'm assuming they included the housing in this, which is very typical of a school of the scorecard, the college scorecard to do. Man, that fruit fly is really getting on me today. I don't know why it's upset with me right now. I didn't do much to it. And so, all right, now I'm getting the housing prices. I probably should say housing rates. It's not, they separated it. So that's what my research is coming in. I got the housing rates. And usually meal plans be inside the housing rates. Of course, they take you to a lot of websites. I don't like how they end. Right here it says, for University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, as we're trying to get the real sticker price, they said as of June 5th, 2025, the University of Housing has reached full capacity within our residence halls. Moving forward, housing contracts will only be offered as space becomes available through cancelizations or vacancies, which is another reason why you should which is another reason why you should stay off campus, guys. They don't even have capacity for students to stay on campus. And they're not even getting a good deal, most likely. The students who stay on campus, they're not getting a good deal. They're not getting a good deal. Only time you should do this is if you're coming from out of state. If you're going to school out of state, like you coming from another state to go to school in a different state, like that's the only time you should stay on campus. And I still wouldn't say that because I was coming from a different city to go to another city, and I got an apartment, and I got a part-time job / full-time job. That's how you do it. I'm not staying on campus. I'm not trying to get a single room type for $7,630. That's the academic year. So I'm not about to pay $7,000 a year for a single room type that's gonna be shared with a bathroom, most likely. I'm not doing that. And people don't watch our channel. Yes, I'm gonna talk about you. Everybody who don't watch our channel, I'm gonna talk about them. You, them, who, I don't know. But I know one thing, I'm not paying $7,000 for no single room type. I'm not doing that. I'm gonna have my own bathroom, my own room space, and we can share that common area. That's it. I'm not sharing everything else for $7. No, that's a ripoff. That's a ripoff. So we're gonna throw in on the low end for the academic year. I think this is the lowest one, which is $5,500. So with tuition and the fees, they said we're looking at what I think they said the same thing. We're looking at $5,500. Yeah, $5,500. So on the low end with dorms, for my people out there on the low end, you're looking at, because I always do the low end, 5,500, 55. They're both 5,500. I guess they like that number a lot. 5,500 times 2 is 11,000. So on the low end, you can manage to pay only 11,000 going to this school. Now you can include books. I don't really get caught up in books and undergraduate, because books and undergraduate can definitely be rented off of Amazon or through people you know. I definitely know at my community college, people used to put their phone numbers on the board. I forgot what it's called. I think a bulletin board is what it's called. They used to put it on a bulletin board, and you can just call the number and get the book somebody had from the previous class. The previous class they took, you're about to take. You just get the book from them and get it for like $60, $40, whatever. Probably a little higher nowadays, but on the low end at this school, you could be paying $11,000. I think you can really pay a lot less if you stay off campus. I don't know the cost of living of Milwaukee, personally, so I can't really tell you if what rent looks like there. But I can definitely tell you that we can definitely research it. That's definitely something we can do. What is the average? I'm pretty sure it's like every other place that's a city, a big city like that. The average, what is the average rent in Milwaukee? So right here, I need a better answer. If I'm looking at, we don't really have no credible sources for this. So if I go look at apartments.com for Milwaukee, Wisconsin, they say you can get a studio for $990. So yeah, I'm assuming it's very like city like these prices. You can get a studio for $990. They say you can get a 1 bedroom for $1186. You can get a 2 bedroom for $1498. You can get a 3 bedroom for $2000. Not crazy, not crazy, not too crazy. Getting a 2 bedroom for $1500. But guys, remember, I expect you to get roommates when you stay in college. And the square feet, though, you probably be upset with the square feet. But I expect you to have roommates. If you get a 1 bed or 2 bedroom, 1 bed, like you do a 3 bedroom, for example, and you get like, it's just like college. You get a 3 bedroom, 2 other roommates. Don't be responsible for the rent. Like I wasn't responsible for the rent when I was at my university school. They were responsible for their own rent. So just take that same approach and get a apartment off campus. And then there are literally apartment complexes for sure who specifically offer apartments for college students. So yeah, I just want to say that. And now with roommates, now they do that. If you're not in college, there's nothing wrong with that. We're getting to them times again where people got to shack up. So let's keep going. But definitely on the low end, guys, the average annual cost, I don't think that's good. I don't think that's right. So, and then the average annual cost is definitely below the midpoint for 4 year colleges, which is pretty good in pricing. But once again, guys, tuition alone, I wouldn't pay I wouldn't pay 5 grand per semester. We talked about that. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that, guys. I would not do that. So let's keep going. But here's a positive. Here's a positive. They said after being 10 years, if you are a financial aid student, after 10 years of being removed, after 10 years being removed from the college, of course, and you are a financial aid student, you can be expecting to make about 55 grand after leaving this school, which is really good. That's higher than the average midpoint of 53,727. That's higher than that. So that's really good. You can be making about 55 grand going to the school. Because if we do, that's all I like to do. If we do 11 grand on the low end, I can be managing to pay 11 grand if you stay on campus. Actually, you're gonna be paying about 13 grand. Let me take that back. Because you gotta add meal plans if you stay on campus. So we're just gonna throw a little 2,000 in there. Normally it's gonna be 2,000, 2,500. So 13,000 times, well, really 4,000. I said 2 grand. This is times 2 of everything. So really, I said 2. What was that number we just did? 11. Then 13. Because on the low end, we already factored in both. Yeah. Then 2. So then this is for a full year, 2 semesters. Yeah. So 4 plus 11. So 4 plus 11. Yeah. So you're looking at about 15 grand. So 15,000 times 4. I had to think I had to do some mental math right there. If you get out in 4 years, you're looking at about 60 grand. So you're looking like playing on the low end, you could pay about 60 grand for your college education at the University of Wisconsin, Milwaukee. And then you can expect to make about 55 grand. So let's keep going. But what I'm saying is that Your tuition power though is gonna make it really hard. So you'll probably have to pull out more student loans alone for tuition. That doesn't include the other factors like meal plans and dorms. I'd just like to emphasize that. We talked about the costs. So right here, the graduation rate we said was 52%. That's an F. The students who return after their first year is a C. Average is 72%. That's not good. They're not retaining students after their first year. We don't know why, but that's not good. And then right here, almost 50% of their students receive federal loans. The average student comes out with 23 grand. The average student will come out with 23 grand if you go to this school. I can see that if you stay on campus. I can see that. Why? Because after your first semester, if you don't, like, you got to think about it. Most people are going to take up, if you do stay on campus, most people are going to take the most lowest and affordable option of a dorm and a meal plan. They're going to do that. They don't believe they can go off campus and get a better deal. They don't believe that. So everybody going to try to get the lowest, then it's going to end up being the last one going to be open is the highest. So you're looking at about 23 grand if you go here. Looking at about 23,000 in student loan debt. We talked about the typical earnings, but you're 75. So if you go to this school, you have a 75% chance of earning more than a high school graduate. That's another C. I feel like it should be higher, especially if you're gonna make 55 grand. I feel like that could have been higher. But that's within the 10 years though. That is within the 10 years of being there or being away from the school. So you can be making over 55 or right under 55. And right here, it said test scores of University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee has an acceptance rate of 88%. They might as well be open admission. The University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee considers admission test scores, SAT, ACT. They say they consider admission test scores for those. They consider the SAT, ACT, but do not require them. That's what I was trying to get at. They do not require them. And so, yeah, that is pretty much it for the school. They have a B in acceptance rate, 88%. I would rate this school nothing too crazy, especially thinking about their competition. I would rate them probably like I'll get them a D. I give them a D because if I wouldn't transfer there after going to my 2-year, I wouldn't personally. I just know based on like my way of going to school, my Pell Grant wouldn't cover me the whole time. Because remember, Pell Grant on the max, if you get the max Pell Grant, if you are a Pell Grant student, it's 7 grand. 7 grand divided by 2 is 3,500. They're asking for 5 grand per semester. I still have to come up with $2,000. And then, well, some people might say, well, if you got to come up with $2,000, some might say if you coming up with $2,000, ain't that within your purchasing power? Yeah, that's within it, but I wouldn't risk it. You know, you never know what. I'm not a financial aid specialist, so I don't know when or if my financial aid is about to expire. So I wouldn't even want to play that type of game. That's a little risky. You know, people know about that. My financial people definitely know about risk and de-risking. It's a little risky. So yeah, I would make them a D. I don't think they're a bad school. I think we just need a little more clarity on some things about them that can make them better. But yeah, they're a D. And D is passing, just not credited, not official stamp. They just a D. And it was something I was gonna say, guys, but we are going. I had a comment in here from Alice Marie. Alice Marie. Oh, saying her name. That's weird. Say, okay. My head a little bit. What do you think the requirement should be to get into a college? That's a tricky question. Alex, that's a tricky question. Tricky, but tricky question. Because I never worked in admissions. I I don't know. I find it weird that first and foremost, I know this is the case. I know every school can't be like this, but when I went to a 2 year or started a 2 year, we where we at right now? Because we were supposed to. Dang, we still hit an hour and 20. That's good. Thought we was going. Okay. I never worked in admissions, but like I said, when I started my 2 year, it was open admissions. But what I think schools should offer, what I think schools should require is, I really don't have an answer, a direct answer. I'm gonna give my best answer and it might not be good. I think schools should simply, I had an idea what they should do. I think schools should, it's tough. It's tough to determine who gets into a school, who does not get into a school. Because sometimes schools have to make decisions on, this student gets in, but if they get in, can they afford to be here? Like, that crosses a lot of schools' minds, definitely in admissions, because you don't want to let every student in who's going to require, for example, Pell Grants. You want to have students who can pay, or they should be able to pay in cash, because then the school know they got guaranteed money. But then it's just so many other factors, right? But if I'm thinking as a what should be the method, I think they should. That's a lot of interviews, so they can't interview every student. They should. Test scores are like barriers. Everybody's not a good test taker. It's tough, especially if I never worked in admissions. I don't want to give a crazy answer that just be like, that doesn't make sense. But the requirements, what I would hope as an answer, what I would look for, and just let everybody in the school. That's how I see it. That should be the requirement. Advertise it more. I think the requirement should be, it should be free. That's one of them. I think you shouldn't have to pay to apply to school. You know, like, you gotta think, some people who come from backgrounds, they probably don't have $50 to pay to, like, do an application for school. I've seen that many times in my background of students who don't have $50 for an application fee. In my recent job, I seen parents who didn't have $20 to keep paying for something. They would call them back for their $20, and they were like, I don't have $100 for this. I don't have $50 for that. Do you have any other scholarship type of options? And so I think that should be free. Application, admission, what they call them, admission fees, application fees. I do think those should be free. That should be one requirement. Those should be free, because it's not even guaranteed they're gonna get into the school, and it's non-refundable. So that's my answer on that. And I did want to speak on this real quick as a closeout. I should clip this, if I remember. Let me write that down. So I was gonna say this real quick. When I growing up in my background, the main reasons why I never wanted to stay on campus when I was transferring from my 2 year was that the rooms looked like motels. No shade at anybody who stayed on campus or stayed on campus in college. The beds looked cheap. The room looked cheap. But the beds looked cheap. The beds didn't look comfortable in pictures. I never took a real look at it. But I heard stories of students who stayed at universities. They said this floor don't work, this wash machine don't work. Like, I thought about all these things that most people should think about. But you don't think about this when you're a college student. Like, I don't want to I got to worry about people stealing my clothes. Where are you going to wash your clothes if you stay in dorms? Keep in mind, these are college students who don't have anything really. I got nice stuff, and I'd be darned if I wash my stuff and stuff be missing, and that's too much. So that was one of the reasons why I wanted to stay off campus, guys. I could get my own mattress. Shoot, the apartment I was living in, they provided a mattress. It was stiff. I was being cheap. It was stiff. It was a stiff mattress. A lot of times I should have I should have got another mattress and just said, look, this person can have this mattress. But that mattress was not the most comfortable. But I stayed on campus. It looked at just like anybody who would have saw it. It looked like a. Actually, go watch my old videos. And like 2 years ago, I think now that those videos are. That was the dorm. That not dorm room. That was my apartment room, like my apartment complex. That was the room I was living in while going to school and working. That was the room. Very small room. But I had had my own closet. I shared a wash machine with roommates who wasn't gonna steal anything. Hopefully. Had a common area. It was literally like a college dorm apartment, except we was off campus, and I paid low, very good rent, very low good rent. So I'm saying this to say, guys, like those colleges are doing awesome return on investments, and I have not seen no school like balance sheet on dorms and stuff. But I'm telling you, they putting cheap beds for on campus, for sure. From stores, they're putting cheap beds, cheap things there, but charging you more like on the rise. They're charging you a higher price because they offering you what convenience. Because you didn't want to take a little time out to go get two roommates, one roommate, and stay off campus. Like some apartment complexes are literally in walking distance of the campus. In most cases, for some people, depending on the school they go to. I wanted to talk about that because based on my background, how I grew up, I'm not gonna lie. I was like, I could just stay at home. This would be better. But then I didn't want to go to my state local school. So, but staying at home would have been better than staying on campus. I don't know why. I don't know why. I felt like that. I don't know why I was programmed like that. But I do want you to know that, like, staying on campus it's gonna hurt you. And once again, when they bill you in tuition, they put your room and board and your meal plans in the tuition. So your financial aid is not even covering your tuition most of the time. It's covering your whole bill for college. That's why I say stay off campus. So your Pell, for my people out there using financial aid, it can cover your tuition. That's why I say that. And then if you do have to do like the room, like the apartment living, that's monthly. You can get a little part-time job. And then what you gonna do for meals? If you don't know how to cook, then you better learn how to cook. Or you can still get a meal plan. I don't advise it because you're not gonna swipe all that stuff, but you better be wearing it out and taking meals home. I couldn't even cook a little. I learned how to cook right before I moved out. I learned how to cook a little bit. The oven do all the work. I learned to cook simple good protein meals: chicken and rice, stir fry, spaghetti. At least my spaghetti. My nephew didn't like my spaghetti. Need to call him. He didn't like my spaghetti. He said my spaghetti wasn't good. Made me feel like a bad cook. But it's simple, guys. I feel like that's what they don't teach us either. When we try to go to college, how to live. Yeah, he didn't. Yeah, Alex. He didn't like it. He didn't like it. And so there are more stories I can give you. Like some stories I'm just gonna remember when I play this clip back. I was fortunate enough, and why I believe in this a lot. I should talk about that tomorrow a little bit as an opening statement. I probably am. How I was able to when I was working full-time, part-time jobs, but definitely full-time. And when I was working full-time at my university before we go, how I was giving my mom money to pay her car note. And I wasn't talking about little money either. We was talking about thousands of dollars. I was giving her thousands of dollars to help pay her car note while still paying for my college. And still paying for things like still investing in the stock market, still trying to help other family members, going to parent meeting conferences, or not conferences, parent meetings for my little cousin who was struggling with school and stuff. You know, he didn't even finish school. And trying to help my little cousin them go to dental appointments, paying for that stuff, having money set aside for that. So that's why I'm a strong believer in that. Like, you can definitely go to school debt free, guys. You just have to pick the right school, and we're gonna talk about that tomorrow. Yeah, that's gonna be an opening statement. I feel like we should talk about. Hopefully, that gets some people attention. Um, um, helped. I'm just writing it down. But that's all, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll be in a different location, so don't be surprised. Peace, chicken grease. I'll see you tomorrow, and stay safe. Yeah.